Yeah, so a big, core performance characteristic that we have here with Cinch Form athletes is really the concept of owning it. Taking complete ownership in your ride, in your event, in your training, in your diet, in your mindset, in your skills, completely owning all components of you as an individual and you as an athlete. Really, that is the best way to move forward and make progress, is because when you own everything that you do and everything that happens to you, guess what? You have total control. Most people, they hesitate or they're reluctant to push themselves because they think they don't have control. They're always kind of looking at things and they're finding excuses based on other people or B factors that are completely outside of their effort or what's happening with them. As soon as you own the good and the bad, right? You now have a sense of control. So you can't control B factors. So if you get rid of them immediately, right? You say, okay, those are outside of my realm, and I'm going to own all my actions and how I do things, right? If I get sick, I'm going to own the fact that I got sick and I probably made a mistake somewhere down the road. Maybe I didn't get enough sleep. Maybe I didn't eat correctly. Maybe I was around a bunch of sick people. That, you just completely own it. If you crash in the race, own that you crashed in the race. I was in the wrong position at the wrong time. I reacted poorly to this person in front of me. I went through this corner too fast. As soon as you do that, you have a framework and a pathway to get better from something. The same thing when you succeed. Own your success. Own the great stuff that happens. And you say, you know what? I put in this hard work and this happened. I know that I got this result because I did these things right. And you own that process as well. Don't say, okay, there wasn't that good a field at this race. Oh, I was lucky, or I was on a good day. Again, you're not, if you say stuff like that, you don't own it, and you're very unlikely to make that sort of thing happen again. A lot of these things that I've created, they like this one, they've come from experiences that are personal to myself and to my family and how we've, overcome things. And the ownership, I'd say that that was one of the things that I was lacking a lot in my career is, as I was a racer, I was constantly, when things didn't go right, I'd kind of say, oh, well, my team isn't putting me in that opportunity, or they don't believe in me, or I don't have the right equipment for this, or, this course doesn't suit me, or, the racers are racing against me. I didn't ever look at what I had control over. I just looked at what I didn't have control over and was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I wasn't all in, I wasn't owning it. And my results show that, and looking back on that, I don't want other people to live that same life. And, but when I was there, I couldn't see that, right? I could not see that perspective for whatever reason. I was in it and I just thought I was a victim of everyone else. But really the turning point for me that helped me see this whole thing, and it's a sensitive subject, was my positive test in 2015 that ultimately ended my career. I was in a situation where I wasn't guilty, I didn't take anything, I didn't do anything wrong, and the whole at the time the whole world thought I was guilty. And the first part of that experience was I was scrambling everywhere to prove that I was innocent. I was very concerned with what people were saying about me. I was very concerned with what was going to happen to me next. I felt like I had no control over my future. I felt like I was spiraling down. I felt like there was only one thing I could do in the world, and that was race bikes. And all of a sudden that was taken from me. So I was very angry. And while I was while I was proving my innocence, I realized that the key to me moving forward was to just own the situation and own the things that I was going through, and just move forward being myself. And if I just said I have this positive test and I am scarred and I look guilty, but I'm not that person. and I don't believe in what that test says. I don't believe in who you are saying, or I don't believe in the things that who you're saying I am believes in. Like, I'm not that person. And instead of me like speaking it and saying it to person or and arguing with people on the internet, I just started going out in public and acting like myself and doing things like I would do them, and just owning it and just being like, yeah, like, I'm Tom Danielson, and you read a bunch of crazy ass shit about me in the media, but I want to help you with coaching. And you know, it sounds crazy, but like, it worked. Like, people saw the real me. People saw like what I was all about. And in fact, it made me more authentic and more powerful, because here I was, like the last person on earth you would think would be out like trying to become a coach and start a business in the sport that just threw me away. He's out, and I was out, and I'm in public and doing stuff, and people love that authentic side to me, and that's really was when it came full circle, and I was like, guys, like, just own it and move forward, and it's so powerful. People, you know, there's nothing more powerful than you know, hard times and hard moments and stories that of success and overcoming that come with them. And all of a sudden, I had like the ultimate one that, you know, rose a very powerful business from it, that changed my life, changed the life of my family, and then changed the life of hundreds of people around with it. And like, that's from owning it. So, you know, in my coaching, like, that's a big part of the Form Performance method, is teaching people to own the good and bad and make something great out of it. So, you know, the best advice that I can give with this is just completely, you know, be the author to your own book. Like, write your story, you know, like, own every chapter, every word in that. It's yours. And you know, you don't want to read a crappy book about yourself. Like, make it a good book. Own everything, the good and the bad, and you will succeed. You will get to the next level.